Uranium Friends, Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, U.UN on this side, SRUUF on this side. A little bit of a data uh, hole here because you remember TSX was closed on Monday. So a little bit of a difference there. Not the biggest deal. So I've been talking about 4-hour charts over and over. Somebody asked me the question today, can we say the same thing about the 4-hour chart showing some sort of trend change on this recent action off this bottom? No. And I say that because most technical analysts will treat this all as one move. There has not been an ounce, a bit of 4-hour consolidation yet. Now I'm using SRUUF here because of the missing day. So you have something a little bit different here. There's a different look, by the way, with both of these names, interestingly enough, right? So SRUUF does not have a 4-hour trend change in any way, shape, or form. As a matter of fact, what it's really considered, what we call this, is a stair-step pattern because every single 4-hour period is a higher high, well, except this one, is without a doubt a higher low, right? Every single period is a higher low. So until that breaks, that's, then we have to see the depth of the run down, the pullback. So the good thing is we have made so much room on this run that the most likely scenario is a higher low compared to this level. So there's a long way to go to get back down to this level. And that's, these are good things. I said this was positive about CCJ, and I said that yesterday about CCJ. The good news and the bad news was CCJ finally started 4-hour consolidation, which it needed. The good news, right? So when we looked at CCJ 4-hour chart, it got its bit of consolidation. I said the good news is we finally got consolidation. The good news is that we had a long way to go before we took out this low. So the probabilities were in favor of a 4-hour higher low. We got it. There's not a lot to it, but we got it. So the new higher low was set at 37.94. Absolutely looking for the Sput fund to do the same thing. We want to see a 4-hour higher low. That's basically what it comes down to. Now, I just want to zoom into the daily, and I'm sticking with SRUUF for the moment. So again, the daily stair-step pattern every single day is a higher high and a higher low. It's good. This is the grind up that we want to see. It's at least setting some little support levels along the way. Once again, it's just searching for a daily higher low. So now if you notice something, if I put this arrow here, I want you to notice where it is, okay? Because I'm starting to see, and this is part of technical analysis, by the way, is the ability to have early pattern recognition, right? And to kind of plan for that. Plan for that in your trading, plan for that in your positioning, plan for that in your dollar cost averaging, whatever it is, because early pattern recognition can be used on a 6-month chart if you want, right? So there's early pattern recognition here, and it's the possibility of a inverse head and shoulders, right? So in my opinion, we're kind of looking at a neckline area here, which again lines up with this support that has now turned resistance, right? So can we see it basically turn around and get rejected maybe tomorrow? Yeah. And then what are we looking for? Well, look, you have the possibility, and this is just a possibility. There's nothing that says it could ever happen, but you have the possibility. That's not the right thing, for God's sakes. I'm horrible with this stuff. Sorry. You have the possibility. I could actually use, I don't want to use the path. You have the possibility of an inverse head and shoulders, right? So you can kind of have this look here. There's your left shoulder. There's your right. There's the head. And now we're looking for the formation of the right shoulder. All right. And again, with technical analysis, this doesn't look so clear, right? So with technical analysis, sometimes try to find a chart where it looks more clear to you or to anyone. 2-day chart, right? Possible inverse head and shoulders. We kind of see our neckline area, and there it is, right? So the 2-day chart is showing a little bit of a better look for those who can't see it, right? So again, a lot of experience in my days of looking at this stuff, decades worth actually. So I can easily see this pattern developing here, right? A lot of people might not be able to, but maybe you can see it here, right? It's a pretty defined setup here. So can we see? Can we see this come to here? Make the inverse head and shoulders, and then make its way out of there. It's possible, right? So there's in no way, shape, or form am I predicting that. I am saying that I've got my eyes out for it. The only thing that I care about right now is this 4-hour chart, and consolidation inevitably is going to occur, right? And you can see a 4-hour inverse head and shoulders here too. So you can kind of see, and forget about the pattern itself, okay? What does an inverse head and shoulders or a head and shoulders indicate, right? So since we're talking about, first of all, it's a reversal pattern, and we love that. Secondly, all that it's saying is that the buyers are stepping in and defending this low. That's really what it comes down to. They know the level. There's a previous level that they know they can work off of, which is kind of like there's a slight bit of structure right here, right? So I'm wondering if we could see more structure if we were in the hourly at that area. There's structure here. There is structure. Okay, so uh, chartists are going to be looking at that stuff. Yeah, I know you can't chart the Sprott fund. Yeah, okay. Anyway, that's what I'm looking for, and it would probably have to coincide. I'm just wondering, do we even have that type of look in URA? We don't, right? So it's a different look here. Um, so that doesn't really help us. Okay, so that's the deal. That's what I'm looking at here. U.UN is kind of the same thing. It's a little bit different looking. So U.UN, and by the way, a check mark in SRUUF's favor is U.UN had a tiny bit of 4-hour consolidation. It's enough to make a pivot. So it's a key level. And we're going to say, oh, there's a gap there. Well, there isn't really because it just wasn't trading that day. So it's a little bit different. So right now, and I think this is a really, really dinky pivot. Again, there will be technical analysts who will say this is not enough of a pivot. It's all one move. And one could not argue with that. So we could just sit here and say, again, we have this stair step pattern. SRUUF is kind of a better metric right now only because of this data hole that we have from the non-trading day in Canada. So it's got to reconcile a little bit, let these things kind of work each other out, and we'll take it from there. But let's just look at U.UN on a daily. It's going to have the same type of, well, it doesn't actually. Look at that. So it doesn't have this inverse head and shoulders look. So the thing is that now you have a dynamic that you really can try to watch on both of these funds because they're different, even though they're the same, right? The charting patterns are different. It's almost as if the United States is, they're buying a little bit more in the United States than they are in Canada on this fund. It's possible. I am not going to go even deep into trying to figure that out because I don't care. I don't need to. All right. But this is just this is a triple bottom here. So it pays to pay attention to both of these charts. If you're in SRUUF, you still have to look at U.UN. If you're in U.UN and you're in Canada, you should still be looking at SRUUF because SRUUF, if it breaches this low and doesn't put in this inverse head and shoulders pattern, well, there's a really good chance that U.UN breaks this triple bottom to the downside. That's the way I'm kind of seeing it right now. So it pays to pay attention to both of them, and that's the deal. UX1, since we're here, we're talking about this stuff. $83 is not the new floor because it's trading at 81.50. And I'll link my other video in here. And I've been saying since it was at 100 that that's a possibility that it comes down into this 80 area. Well, I'm already proven correct in my opinion. I'm close enough to the 80 area. I also said in the last video that was a key metric to be watching, and that was this gold line, the weekly 50 EMA. It is breaking down below it. So now the people that are hoping that we're still in a full-fledged spot market bull run are hoping it is just an undercut. Right? So this patterning looks similar here where the fund loses the 200-day moving average, rides the tests this 50 weekly 50 EMA. I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit for you. All right. Test this 50-day this 50 period weekly EMA. Some undercuts, trading below the 200-day moving average. Right. Get some big time undercuts. So literally on this chart, if you want to make a comparison, sorry, but I want to be tight here, okay? If you want to make a comparison, we're trading below the 200-day moving average, just lost the weekly 50 EMA, not unlike what's going on exactly right here. So does this mean you get your undercuts? Don't know, because this was, well, it's March 2021, so we have to be just keeping an eye out for that. That's all I can tell you. Regardless of that, 83 is not the new floor. 100 was not the new floor. 83 is not the new floor. We're below it. If it bounces back tomorrow, within the next week or something, well, that will be good. And everybody will be happy. Otherwise, we're still going down. It's just that simple. How the equities respond to this spot price is a different story, right? So the other metric to be watching that I pointed out in the other video was the monthly 12 EMA. It is breaching it now. We don't want to see us lose that monthly 12 EMA. Could there be undercuts? There could be, right? But these moving averages on the monthly chart are still very stretched. I'm sorry to say that. I really want this to be the look to be able to power up our next leg. This is not the look to me that's going to get you that next leg. I really, truly hope I'm wrong, obviously, right? But we're coming into a spot. Let's see what the quarterly chart looks like. Yep, same thing, right? So we have metrics. Even on the quarterly chart, you have the 5 EMA, which it's been riding. So it's a monthly 12 EMA rider. It's a quarterly 5 EMA rider. It's a weekly 50 EMA rider. They're all in confluence with each other. You lose them, and it's problematic. It's absolutely problematic. So the undercut into the quarterly 12 EMA at 66.50 could be in the cards. And it would still be a very, very healthy correction on this name, as sick as that sounds, because that's where this last quarterly was, right? The low of this quarterly, 68.65. You got the rising 12 EMA to kind of meet you up there. It's not out of the cards. Just don't forget that. The chart's not saying, hey, it's going there. The charts are saying there's a spot here. There's an inflection point. There's a behavioral thing that this instrument has been doing for years. And if it changes, you have to be aware that there could be extension to the downside because of it. You have to be aware of that. Just be aware. Over and out.